In this problem, I want to graph the function y equals the negative square root of the quantity 25 minus 9x squared. Now, to find out what kind of function this is, I'm going to start by squaring both sides. And I have y squared equals 25 minus 9x squared. Now, if I add 9x squared to both sides, I have 9x squared plus y squared equals 25. And I can divide both sides by 25. And I have 9x squared over 25 plus y squared over 25 equals 1. So I can see that this is an ellipse. Because we started in this format with y equals the negative square root of 25 minus 9x squared, that tells me that it's going to be either the bottom half of an ellipse or the left-hand side of an ellipse. It's the negative side of the ellipse, and it just depends on whether this is a wide ellipse or a tall ellipse. And in order to figure that out, I need to determine what a squared and b squared are. So I still don't really have this in standard form, and the problem is that I have 9x squared in the numerator, and it should just be an x squared. So what I'll do is I'll divide both the top and bottom of this fraction by 9. So that way in the numerator I just have a 1x squared now. And in the denominator I have the fraction 25 over 9. And now I can compare my two denominators. And clearly 25 is more than 25 divided by 9, so this is going to be a tall ellipse. Now the center is at 0, 0, the center's at the origin. And my vertices, well, we know a squared is 25. So my vertices are going to be at plus and minus 5. And I did say that this was going to only be a half of an ellipse, so in this case, because it's a tall ellipse, it's going to be the left-hand side of an ellipse. So here I've roughly sketched it, but I really don't know if that's accurate until I do a little bit more work. Now I look at b squared, and that's 25 over 9. If I take the square root of both sides, then I get b is 5 over 3. And so the reason why I want to know what b is because that tells me how wide the ellipse is. So we want to go 5/3 in the plus or minus direction on the x-axis. So 5/3, that's almost 2. And there we go. So I've got points at almost -2 and almost +2. So we can see this is not a very wide ellipse. And there we go. And that's the sketch. And I really didn't need this second point over here because we're only drawing the left-hand side. Okay, so now I just want to find the foci. And I can do that by finding c squared, and that's a squared minus b squared. So if I subtract those two numbers, I get 200 over 9. And so then c would be the square root of 200 over 3, and that's 10 times the square root of 2 over 3. You can pop that into your calculator and see what that's equal to in order to be able to easily graph. I just did this and I got that it's roughly equal to 4.7. So I'm going to count almost to 5 here on the y-axis and almost to -5. And you do your best to do that, but when it's not coming out as a whole number, you just have to estimate as well as you can. And that is the end of this problem.